Hey, and welcome back to my program. In the elections that took place here just last week, I saw there were some very controversial races. Up Wisconsin, Governor Scott Walker, a Republican who's been ballyhooed a good bit about running for president, won re-election. He was in a big fight with unions up there. There was a recall effort to recall him, didn't pass. Very controversial guy, but he's the darling of a number of Republican operatives in the presidential race. Walker came out last week with a proposal that all welfare recipients be drug tested. If you're going to get a handout from the state, much of it federal money, then you should be drug tested to be sure you're not using drugs. And the reason being, as many of his defenders have said, well, if you're on the public dole, you're getting public money, then you certainly should not be using drugs. I'll tell you how I feel about that. Number one, I'm a big believer in states' rights. Basically, I'm a libertarian. But if the states want to get together, if a state like Wisconsin wants to vote and say, okay, we're going to do a program of drug testing for those that get our tax dollars. A citizen saying, listen, I'm paying my taxes. There should be some justification, some accountability as to how I spend that or how that money is being spent. Someone's using it, and rather than using it for the purpose it was given to you for, is using it for drugs. I want to know that. I don't want my tax dollars going that direction. I can understand that view. That's a reasonable view. But why do you limit just drug testing? Here's the question I'm raising. I saw the movie last week again, The Wolf of Wall Street, Leonardo DiCaprio, who is a huge magnate on Wall Street, makes a ton of money, and is very heavily involved in drugs. Well, look what happened at the bailout of Wall Street. Wall Street icons received billions and billions of dollars, and much of it did not go to fill the hole that was created by their ineptness. It went to continue their big bonuses and their lavish lifestyles. A horrible reflection of both George Bush and Barack Obama for not building in checks and balances to see that money was not wasted. It was terribly wasted. In any event, they got all the big bailout. Do we drug test Wall Street? All the bankers, AIG, and all that went to all the banks and all the mortgage loans went sour. They all got bailed out by you and by me, our tax dollars. Should they be drug tested? Down in Louisiana, where I live, we've now become the movie capital of America. You don't make films out in Hollywood to the degree they used to. They come down to Louisiana. Great reason to do so. I'm tickled. I'd love to see Angelina Jolie and all these big superstars, Matt Damon walking around the streets of New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and Shreveport. Wonderful program. However, why they come down here is not just the ambiance of Louisiana, the moss and the trees and all the good food we eat down here. They get tax breaks. They get huge tax breaks. For every dollar they spend on making motion pictures, we as Louisiana taxpayers give them 30 cents back. They get 30% of their entire cost paid for by taxpayers in Louisiana. Do we have a right to demand accountability? We all know there's a lot of drugs used in the movie industry. I don't want, so if they take an extra month to make the movie, it costs Louisiana taxpayers another $10 million. Well, that's not justifying our tax dollars. So maybe we should drug test all the movie people in the whole movie industry, from the stars of the show, the producers, right on down. Now, maybe you're saying I'm being overkill, but I'm trying to stay consistent here. You need to stay I got no problem testing drug users. If you're a welfare recipient, the money should go to your kids or to food on the table. That's how it should be used. But that's really a small part of what we spend on dollars going to so many programs with defense contractors. We have seen story after story of the massive waste on defense contractors over in Iraq and Afghanistan, where they're just taking suitcases full of money. Nobody knows what happened to it. There's no accountability. Defense contractors, by and large, not all of them, but many have ripped us off in what we're doing throughout the world. So if they're ripping us off, should they be drug tested? Let's get some consistency in the program. Like I say, I'm protective of our basic rights, but there should be accountability. And if you folks listening in Arkansas, if you're out in Utah, Spanish Lake, Utah, listen to my radio show up in Atlantic City, if you feel like you want accountability, that's your right as a citizen under the 14th Amendment in your home state. But if you're going to do it, if you're going to do it, let's just do it for the little guy. There's some dignity here. Do it across the board. Make everyone be accountable. Let them step up. So if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. Isn't that right? Hey, I'll be right back.